how did we get here, I think, is an important question to ask. And I do just want to take a second to explain that because it relates so well to what this legislation is asking educators in our state to do. Throughout the 19th century, if you were lucky enough to receive an education, you were taught to read with a McGuffey reader. Most of us have probably heard of those or even seen them. They taught letter sounds, and they taught phonics and phonemic awareness and vocabulary exactly the way Senator Berger just described. And somewhere along the way, about the turn of the 20th century, something called the look and say method started to surface in education. And that is the idea that I point to a picture and I tell you it's a cat, and I show you the word cat, and you memorize the word cat because of the picture. John Dewey further developed this, and if we fast forward to the 90s, to the 1990s, by then, that method of early literacy instruction became the dominant way that we taught kids how to read, despite the fact that it is not grounded in research. And now, 3/4 of teachers in the U.S. use this method to teach kids how to read. And I'm going to show you a little example here. This is my book, my favorite book from when I was little. There's a picture of a frog and a toad on the cover of this book riding a bike. There is the title of the book. If I were a typical first grade teacher, I would be asking a child to look at this picture and then try and figure out what the words say. What do these words say? What are the frog and the toad doing in the picture? And then what do you think these words are? I am not oversimplifying. This is exactly what balanced literacy or whole language reading instruction looks like. And this is how our country has reached this crisis of what is tantamount to illiteracy, and furthermore, disproportionately impacts children who are low income. When Senator Berger says we've got to get rid of those things that don't work, that's what he's talking about. And teachers, through no fault of their own, have been trained and encouraged to continue to teach this way. And so what we are doing when we talk about the science of reading is not a program. It is a body of research that tells us how the brain learns to read. We are hardwired to learn how to speak. We are not hardwired to learn how to read. The brain has to work. Various places in the brain have to be firing and working at the same time in order for reading to take place. It's not a visual activity. It's a language activity. And that is why we have to get back to a phonics-based approach of early literacy instruction.
Why did they continue to teach something that was proven, or at least didn't have academic backing to show that it was effective?
Yeah, so I'll comment on that first. This is actually a thing known as the Reading Wars, if you can believe it. We have something called the Reading Wars that started in the 70s and really are just now. I mean, the science is in. The science of reading won the reading war. Phonics won.